Pushing the button. And we're live.
Awesome.
Officially streaming live. We need to get in here and share it. Derek Evans here, of course. Sarah Smith's joining me from the Lee Home team, Keller Williams Metro. Thank you for joining, Sarah. You know, this is something I'm so passionate about that it's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's a wonder. And I post things about this maybe occasionally, but I really have some passion around what I think. I mean, and I'm old. It makes me sound old to say the word customer service, but you know, what does the extra mile look like? I mean, everyone says like, if you get a business coach or if you work with someone or a company that does really well, like let's talk about Amazon, for example. What's so amazing about Amazon? I would say that's the extra mile on everything. It made everything so easy. They have everything at your fingertips. They bring it to your front door. I mean, talk about the extra mile.
Yeah.
That really does it. So let's start this conversation about what does this look like, or what do you think it looks like to people who are buyers and sellers in the marketplace from a real estate standpoint? That's the question we're going to discuss today.
We talk about it all the time about setting expectations. And I think that is so important. And going the extra mile is just doing whatever you can in today's wacky market to make sure that your buyers and your sellers know what they're getting into. This isn't your mom and pop market, you know. This isn't, oh, we're gonna go take a look at some houses. We think we might buy in a month or two. You know, we'll see what's out there and then we'll put an offer in a couple of weeks or so. It's not like that. It's setting that expectation of, okay, so you're talking to me and we're having a consultation today and we're in September, but you don't want to buy until the end of November. Look around and get an idea of prices and kind of what's available in the market, but nothing that you are looking at today is going to be available at the end of November when you're ready. The market changes every single day. It's constantly moving. I think just setting that expectation of like, not only that things are constantly moving, but homes are flying off the shelf. So sellers are getting more for their property than they've ever seen. I mean, we just did a meeting, all of Keller, last week. From February of 2015 to today, home values in San Diego have gone up 42%. So, you know, setting that expectation for a seller, like if you're wanting to wait, or if you're, you know, your property expired, like it's a really good time. I'll go through the list of things, you know, sellers that tried to sell a couple months ago and what they were selling at, and I'll look up and comp their property out now. And I mean, just from March to today, homes in San Diego have gone up in value. So not only
significantly,
100%. So making sure sellers know that, making sure sellers know they're going to have many, many people through their homes.
And what you're talking about here is really just essentially just honesty, like being overly straightforward. I think that is the thing that as a salesperson, you have to commit to, even though you will push some people away and into a worse deal. I'll tell you just today, some of the things I've seen, and Sarah, we're going to talk about a deal that we worked on together and specifically what happened there. And we don't think anyone had any bad intentions, but just the way that things work out sometimes, I get a lot of calls to save the day, which is great. I want every time a veteran can't get into a home, or someone tells them they can't be approved, or someone tells them they can't get the loan after they've already been pre-approved, I want to be the guy that people call and go, can we get this done? Because, you know, I got a couple of those calls this weekend, and guess what? We can do both of the deals. So, you know, and someone else couldn't. So it's like, it's about being totally honest and letting people know, like, this is what it is, whether this helps me look good to you or not. You know, my job is to tell you the truth. And I think the extra mile is, you know, being able to deliver the truth with white gloves, you know, because people really do want to know what's going on. They really want to know how things are working. But that's the key. So I'll tell you what my biggest loss, let's start there. My biggest lose scenario is when someone has to call me and ask for status. Anytime a client says, hey, what's going on with our loan, or what's going on with this? That's when I know that I have not met my own personal expectation for communication, because I want everyone to know what's going on as an outward, communication, not as an inward communication. Yeah, I'll happily sit here and people ask me status and give them status all day, but I want to be giving the status so that it can be, received. This is a big deal when people are buying or selling a home, or a lot of times people are doing both at the same time.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stress. So I think when we talk about real estate, the key thing that we have to do is try to alleviate that as much as possible. And that's going to be by keeping people in the know. And so communication, personalized communication, not automatic texts. And I have people trying to sell me on CRMs every day. Well, we connect to your Encompass and then we'll automatically update everyone. Come on. That's just,
Yeah.
that isn't what works. Someone will get your automated text message and then they'll still call me and go, hey, what does this mean? I mean,
Yeah.
that just isn't how it works. People want to hear from a human being.
Right.
And I think
100%.
that is the human element is a super, super important thing for us to not lose amidst all this technology.
Oh, I'm right there with you. I'm a huge advocate for still human to human contact. People are like, just text me. No, I'm going to call you because I want to talk to you. I don't want to wait, for that. I don't want there to be miscommunication. I don't want to take something the wrong way. It's easy to pick up the phone and to call. And I do need to commend you because I call you quite a bit and you're always available. You always answer, you make the
Thank
time.
you.
And I really appreciate that. And I know that my clients do as well.
Yeah. And I think that's really important too, right? Is answering the phone. I'll tell you one thing, and this is a free tip for anyone out there who is in a referral business. Call back your missed calls. I'll give you an example on how many did this happen on today? Well, I won't take the time to do that, but multiple times today, I receive calls from numbers I don't recognize, and we all get a lot of calls from numbers that we don't recognize now. And you may tend to think, well, if it's important, someone will leave you a message. You'll be shocked. How many times if I can't call them because I'm on the phone, I'll text them. I'll say, hey, it's Derek. Sorry, I missed your call. When can we chat later?
Mhm.
And a big chunk of the times it's a referral from someone. And they're like, wow, thanks for calling me back. They're kind of blown away right off the bat. Like, I didn't leave a message. I didn't send a text. I just called. The call was missed and he got back to me almost immediately.
Yeah.
So, that's what I'm talking about. That's the extra mile.
Mhm.
Calling, returning voicemails is one thing, returning texts another thing. But, if you're in the service business, and I serve for a higher purpose and, in the belief that we should serve one another and love one another. And so if you're in the service business, you got to look at what is it that the other side, how are they seeing things?
Right.
We tend to dwell maybe on some of the bad experiences we had. Well, I had all the way to here and then they went somewhere else or something like that, or used somebody else. We may tend to dwell on those things, but we never know. Just remember that people are always doing what they believe is best for them. And so we want to make sure that what they believe is best for them is working with us.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
make that abundantly clear,
Yep.
and this is to all service professionals. So it doesn't matter if you're a bartender or if you're, in real estate and mortgage like we are. It's service is something where you can win. And what's great, and I'll say this because I know that you're newer, in the real estate space. What's great about being new is you have a lot of time, right?
Yeah.
This person who may have 20 or 25 years of experience, they don't have as much time. They can't be as available. So when you're especially starting your business, you have this time. Use that time to go above and beyond. Use that time to really be there for people. Use that time to follow up like you do. You're all over it, all over it, all over it. Be like that, because that's where you can really have an advantage over the person who, is so busy
Yep.
that they can't call people back.
Yep.
I had a call this morning with a couple of agents in San Diego who are really good agents. And they said, listen, we're just sick of our lender not being able to call us back. This person said you were good. We set up the Zoom. Tell us what's good about working with you. And so it's just communication,
Yeah.
call people back, answer your phone. I know this sounds super basic, but
But
this is
it's
what people
so
want.
rare. It's so rare these days. And I love that you're such an advocate for service. I am as well. Even like you said, it goes across all industries. And me, myself, coming from the service industry, I worked for a hotel that was very service based. And I mean, it was a newer hotel and it became the #2 hotel in San Diego because of customer service. And I myself won a Perfect Host Award for going above and beyond every time, and that's what I've brought to this industry. And I think people have taken notice that I will be as available as I can. I know we're as available as we can be, but making the time, like you said, to call back a missed call or to answer when your call was missed, make sure you're answering when they call you back, to make sure that there's no discord between that line of communication. It's so important, and it's such a lost art. Like I said, just picking up the phone and having that human to human contact and creating those relationships. And I think that is where we at the Lee Home team have chosen to team with you, because it's not only you answer us and you're communicating with us, but like I said, my clients are so grateful to you because you answer right away. You know, I have a client that's super busy right now, and it's hard for him to, keep everything in order, what needs to be signed. So what did he do? He went to you guys and he said, I'm just going to come in. Is there any way you can have everything ready for me? And you were like, sure, we'll have the packet of documents to be signed, and, you can be on your merry way. And so even that's so above and beyond, just to make sure that you're doing that extra step for somebody that needed it. And again, it's all kudos to you for
Thank you.
going above and beyond.
It's my only focus, and I think we should touch on a couple of things, because I think this is a good conversation for people in our industry. And I think it's a good conversation for people who are wanting to get into real estate or wanting to purchase real estate, to kind of understand a little bit about what's going on, and how this all works. We'll talk about some specific instances. I will say, pro tip, as you get busier, one of the things that people really appreciate, they reach out to you. You look like, I can look at my text right now and go, okay, I have a dozen texts I need to get back to. Some people are saying, hey, call, a lot of times you get a text, hey, call me as soon as you can, those kinds of things. And it may feel a little anxious, like, oh man, I'm not gonna be able to call that person for an hour or more. So tell them, hey, I'm going to call you back in about 90 minutes. Is that okay?
Yep.
And then drop it in your calendar, set a reminder so you get a pop-up. And if you do that right there, they're like, okay, cool, he's going to call me back. There's no more worry or concern, like, am I going to hear back from this guy? Or, hey, it's been an hour, I don't know if I'll hear from him today.
Yep.
You just immediately put that fire out before there's even a flame. Yeah. And that is also part of communication, setting up, scheduling time to talk. It's hard to chase people down on the phone. Like, I would probably never just call you out of no. And it's not because I'm trying to be a calendar guy or be overly organized. It's just so that we both have the right expectation for what's set up, and we both can be there. And, we both know we have that on our calendar. It's just about being organized. Yeah. I mean, being organized is good. We also talk about, in this industry, especially on the loan side, there's a big difference, a lot of times in what you can get from one place to the next. And sometimes there's, companies that charge a lot of fees, which we just don't subscribe to, a line mortgage. And, things along those lines. So, I've had, just in the past couple of days, multiple instances where people came to me or referred to me to get a second opinion, and they were paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars at another lender for a higher rate than what I get them with absolutely no fees at all. So it is one of those things where not every bank is created equal, especially for VA. There's just no one who can touch us in that space.
100%. Yeah.
FHA, we're all in the kind of the same boat, and conventional, we're all kind of the same boat. They really boxed everybody in on those. On VA, we've really gone an extra mile from the standpoint of taking, as a loan officer, we take a lower comp, than most LOs do at other companies. Our branch takes lower margins. Our corporate office takes lower margins, so we can all pitch in, charge no fees, and get really great rates to veterans. We believe they deserve it. That's our mission. So when we're looking at this, like, communication is huge, service is huge. Your background, what you're talking about, next level stuff. I was going to bring up a book because what's funny is people always come to me, and you'll start to get this too, and they say, well, how do you scale that? Like, how do you scale being available? You need to be able to scale and scale. Scaling is something that's good for you, though, not necessarily good for the client, right? Like, scaling means, okay, I'm taking something that I do really well and I'm gonna have someone else do it. There's always a little bit lost in translation there. My concern is not scaling. My goals are not based upon numbers. I think that's also important when, we're talking about goals. Hey, what are your goals? This is a great question, by the way. If you're a buyer or seller, ask your agent this, ask your loan officer this. What are your goals in business? I think it's a question that no one's ever asked me, but I think it would be, I have, I think, a great answer, because my goal is just to,
what's your goal in business?
Yeah, please ask me, will you? My goal is to find out a way to serve our clients better every day, just a little bit. If we can just make a little bit of progress, get a little bit better, figure out where there's breakdowns in communication. We had an example today where, as a VA refinance, the homeowner had not been contacted by the appraiser. Well, this is something that just doesn't really come up. Usually the VA assigns an appraiser, the appraiser contacts them, they schedule. but we had an incoming communication on a customer service issue because we didn't have a check and balance to double check that the appraiser had received it and that he was on it and that he had time frame to reach out. So we've now inserted that into the process. So we won't have that issue again. We'll know a couple of days before we get to that point. We'll be able to alert the client. So those things will come up. It will happen. But if your goal is to try to do as many loans as possible, you'll look at that and go, that extra step's going to cost us time and human capital. And, we can't invest that if we're going to scale, So it's about mindset. Mindset needs to be based around serving. And if that's the case, then the rest of it will happen. It will just, it will take place as you go. I would like to let you sort of set the stage for the story that we want to share. We'll call them the Smiths. Not because your name is Smith. It wasn't you.
Simple.
But we'll call them the Smiths. I didn't even do that on purpose. So the Smiths, they're buying a house. And this is also something to consider too. I mean, let's drop some knowledge. You're buying a house in Riverside County.
Right.
You do have to keep an eye, Melrose tax rates.
Yep.
And where those can come up sometimes.
And so that was something that was big for me because obviously being new, you study your test. It's 1% of assessed value here in California. Well, in Riverside County, it's roughly around like 2 to 2.1%. I wasn't expecting that. When I did find that out and I knew my buyers wanted to be up there, I tried to go above and beyond. And I made a list of their top 5 that they gave me. And I told them what each one's, the price of the home and what their comp range was to make sure that they were appropriately priced. But I also put on what the taxes were for the 2019 tax year so that they had an idea of what they were getting themselves into with that 2% tax and what that would look like. And I let them choose from there what the best home value was going to be for them out of that top 5 with HOA, with Melrose, with all those fees in there. And they were very, very grateful because they made their decision based on that. They knew what they were getting into. They called you and said, well, after we switched to you.
Let's rewind it a little bit.
Yeah, rewind.
First of all, that's an amazing above and beyond moment right there. I'm just going to say, because
it wasn't easy either.
I imagine it wasn't. But this is the kind of thing that, where when people are looking to buy, and by the way, I love Riverside County. I think it's amazing. Taxes may be higher. You have incredible schools. Mm-hmm. You have, a lot of bang for your buck in the real estate. A lot of people are going there, and I love it. I love the area. I love going to Temecula. I love wine country. I love the whole concept. Everything that's going on in Riverside County is awesome. So just want to make sure that we say that we love it there.
Love it.
The taxes will be a little bit higher. And so if you're used to looking in San Diego and kind of getting quotes on, payments there, when you buy for $500,000 in Riverside County versus $500,000 in San Diego County, the payments will be higher even with the same rates because of the extra taxes. So that's what we were kind of talking about. And then also those higher tax rates can cause a little more cash to close, which can end up being a scenario. So for this family, we're talking about the Smiths,
which is what we ran into. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you kind of run us through that scenario. You're planning this out. You're going above and beyond. You're really trying to help them make an educated decision. They're buying a home with the VA loan for the first time. And they, they already had a mortgage professional they were working with when they got to you. And so eventually you got an offer accepted. Kind of tell us through, what happened from there.
We did. So we did run into a bidding war there like we've been seeing. And so we had to end up offering around $20,000 more than what the house was listed at. But that was fine. It was still within their budget. They were still able to do it. They were still pre-approved for that amount. And we were able to get our offer accepted. We were moving forward. They said, what are we going to need? And I told them about the initial earnest money deposit at that 1%. So we put down 5,000, and then they called me, Mr. Smith, and he said, what's my cash to close going to look like? What are my closing costs going to be in total? So I called the lender and I said, what are we looking at as far as cash to close? What do they have to bring to the table to bring it to close? And she said, I'm thinking total with, your earnest money deposit, it's going to be around 10 to 11,000. And I said, okay. And I let him know. He was prepared for that. That was totally fine. And about a week and a half to 2 weeks later, he called me and said, I just went on to my portal through the lending institution's website. And all of a sudden it's $18,000 to close, and they owe now $13,000 more dollars. And he's like, this is not what I was expecting. This isn't what we were told. This is an issue. This is something that I wasn't expecting. I didn't put the money away for. And I didn't know what to do. I called her and I said, what can we do? I know they're working with you about lender credits. And she said, well, when we adjust for this credit, and this credit, we'll try to give a lender credit and it'll come down. I said, okay, so when you have that number, reach out to me. And she did. And it ended up, she was able to bring it down to about $13,000 total to close, which was still more than what we had planned for. And I said, is this better? And he was like, yes, but it's still not something that's doable for our family at the moment.
So at that point, he's basically telling you, the buyer is telling you basically the deal's dead if this is what
we can't close. Exactly. We don't have the ability to bring this deal to a close. And that was when I called you and I said, what can we do? I know that you are my go-to for VA, and it wasn't necessarily my place because they were referred to me with a previous lender. It wasn't my place to say, oh no, we're just going to go with Derek right away. Then an issue came up and I said, I know who's going to be able to save this. And I reached out to you, and lo and behold, you were able to work your magic. And what were you able to do for them, Derek?
Well, specifically, what we were able to do for them, they had decent credit, which is helpful. And so at that time, the same interest rate with us that they had been quoted previously was giving a pretty significant lender credit. I think it was $5,000 or so. And we were able to, get approved to give them a couple more $1,000 from management just to help out with everything. And at the end of the day, when it came down to it, when we got the CD, so they were excited because they really liked this home and they wanted to do it. They just couldn't do it the higher number. I knew I was going to at least be able to save them about $5,000. So that was making it doable for them. But at the end of the day, when the numbers all broke down, they actually got some of their EMD back.
Yeah.
So they didn't bring any more money. Yeah.
So from needing $13,000 more than their $5,000 EMD to close, you were able to not only bring it down, but they got some of their EMD back. So Correct. They closed not at 18,000, but at less than their original 5,000, which is absolutely mind blowing. I'm still in shock that you were able to pull that off.
Yeah, it's bonkers. It is. I look at it and I go, how do we do this? Because it is tough. But the bottom line is our organization was built by veterans, a veteran-owned company, for veterans, for the VA home loan benefit. And we recognize when there's, a situation for us to be able to come in and really help somebody, we're going to do it. Even if we have to get outside of the box or do free deals or do deals at a loss, we do it all the time. And that's just because that's the nature of our company. It's one of the main reasons, I'll tell you, there's two reasons why I'm at Align Mortgage. Producers like myself can go wherever we want, right? Well, I want to serve veterans. Therefore, I need to be at the place where I can best serve veterans. I've never worked at a company that cares as much about the client as I do. It's really hard to find a company that really, really, truly puts the client first. Hey, we'll put the client in close second, but still us first, but actually says, no, what, the client comes first. And, as long as it doesn't harm the company, we're going to put the client's needs first, meaning harm the company in some major way, not lose a couple $1,000s if need be. So that's kind of, and the fact that we can do many more VA loans than most people can. A lot of the loans that I do for VA, people will, the cross qualification lenders will look at it and go, this isn't a deal. It may not be a deal for you, but it is for me.
It is for me.
So that's what was able to happen. So we're able to do things that a lot of people aren't able to do because we're built that way. We have a specific, mission to serve veterans and help make sure that they get good mortgages. There's huge mortgage companies out there that supposedly just serve the VA community that are ripping people off. It's a shame. It's disgusting. It's completely unnecessary, by the way, completely unnecessary. And it drives me nuts. So I can show you a couple examples right now, if you want, that's in my inbox of people who sent me quotes, have no business paying $9,000 or $10,000 in fees, but people are trying to whack them. So if we talk about like what does the next level look like? And I think everybody knows what we mean by that. And what is that, that next level of service? What is the ultimate experience for someone who's interacting with the business these days? And I refer to this, the HVT, the high value touch. I think that's what is missing with most experiences that I personally have. And whether it's in real estate or in any other business, I can't believe how many times I try to call a company and give them my money. Like I'm trying to buy something, and it's kind of a wacky, clunky process. So what is going on?
Everything automated, and you're like, I just want a human.
I just want to buy your stuff. Will someone please answer the phone?
I know. It's
so
frustrating.
it's about that high value touch, and high value means one-to-one, with emphasis on a person's scenario, one-to-one. This is specific information to you. And I think that what's amazing about your team and your team lead, Jay, is that, he really cares about it. I remember when I first met with Jay, the first meeting with him, we were having lunch, and he's just kind of like, tell me what you're all about. And I was like, well, I'm about serving the client and doing everything I possibly can for them. And he's like, dude, no one's ever told me that before. And, and that's what he really believes in, is serving the veteran. He does this to serve veterans too. He is a veteran.
100%, yeah.
And so, that was why we connected and really clicked from the very beginning, because we both have the same objective. Like, let's hook people up, let's do something, let's go above and beyond. Let's make someone's day amazing. Mr. Smith, we were talking about earlier, he called me a couple times since they've gotten into the home to just go out of his way to just say thank you. Like, I can't tell you how much this means for my family. It's like, see, we understand that, we get that. Like, this is a big deal. If you look at this business as these are just a bunch of transactions and a bunch of names on a spreadsheet, you'll never really get what we're really supposed to be doing here, and the opportunity, Sarah, that we have, that I know you understand, about being able to serve people in such a major way, like to reduce stress in a very stressful time, to deliver people to a lifestyle, the dream, the American dream is essentially what we're
home
working
ownership.
Yeah. I mean, this is it. Hey, listen, if you own a house free and clear, I'll tell you this, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
So if you do nothing else in your financial life, but buy a house and pay it off, you're going to be okay. Yeah. So that's really your main financial objective as an adult, is to buy a house and pay it off. And people argue this with me all the time, but I've watched it happen. I can tell you for a fact, my mom and my dad both, when they paid their houses off, shortly after that they retired. The numbers are clear as people are working longer and people aren't retiring because their houses aren't paid off.
Right.
So this is where we can really help, people get to another level of not just legacy. Legacy is great, but, financial security,
freedom, exactly.
Options. Yeah. That's what it's really about. So if we can help people get there more efficiently, then all the better. By the way, rates are insane right now.
Yeah. Tell me about rates these days, because I know that's a big topic we always talk about. And I know you're right there with, always your charts and your candlesticks showing us
my
what rates you're doing. So in layman's terms for somebody like me.
I mean, I'll give you a couple examples, especially in the VA space. Rates for VA and jumbo really seem to be affected the most by this positivity in the marketplace. FHA is sort of boxed in a little bit, conventional a little bit boxed in. I check broker rates and all this stuff all the time too, so you can see where everything lines up. But VA rates right now, high balance VA rates are back in the low twos for people with good credit making a purchase. Even possible in some cases on a refinance. Mm-hmm. We're doing a 100% cash out refinance for a gentleman right now. Yeah. High balance VA, 2.75%. So, and this is with no points and no fees. So I probably owe a few more disclaimers. Derek Evans, NMLS 155010. This is not an offer to lend, blah, blah, blah. But these are real rates that are happening with real people in San Diego County right now who have VA eligibility. So yeah, the rates being this good, I think, Sarah, are going to continue to propel, the real estate market forward.
Oh, 100%. And
I think what, this conversation is so important, just for our colleagues to hear this. Hey, I want my competitors to hear this too, because listen, I know I can't do a loan for every single person in San Diego, and people deserve better than what they're getting right now. They just do. And when I set out on this particular mission, it was not just to do something incredible, and that be it, but was to also try to share some of the stuff, try to show people, try to set a higher standard. Like, let's get in here and let's be badass as an industry. Let's not just, have a couple of good ones here and there. Let's try to be a little bit better here. People deserve it. it's worth it. Let's stop worrying about scaling stuff, and let's worrying about like,
Focus in the moment.
Yeah, let's hook people up. Like it should always be about hooking people up. And by the way, that's good for your business too. People like getting hooked up. They'll tend to tell their friends.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's something that people don't understand is scaling comes with time. And if you take care of the client in front of you, then like you said, they're going to go and tell their friends. And what's that going to do? That's going to scale your business. Your business is going to grow because people are going to turn around and word of mouth market for you. And inevitably you're going to get bigger.
Yeah. The more organic growth, I think, is good. We have there's some big real estate teams here in San Diego that do lots of marketing, and there's some big lenders here too that kind of do the same thing, and nothing wrong with that. And I'm not saying anything bad about them by any means. But me personally, I'm a mom and pop guy. Like I'm from the Midwest, and I like the high value touch. I like to for people to know that I'll be your security blanket. I'll be here. I will hold your hand. I'll answer your questions. I'll be your safe place.
That's so funny that you say that you're a Midwest guy. Cause I'm from Maryland. So to some people I'm from the North and to some people I'm from the South, but
I would call that East Coast.
I mean,
Maryland?
it is the East Coast, but I claim Southern. A lot of people don't, whatever. My parents are from New Orleans. And so I actually had a friend one time, old manager of mine say, I just been down in New Orleans with my family. And he was like, that's why. And I was like, what? And he goes, you're Southern. That's why you're so hospitable. And I'm like, I'll take it, I'll take it. Going above and beyond if that's why, sure.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but above and beyond is really the focus and the mindset. And our entire team is focused on this. I know your team is too.
100%.
It's always about what's best for the client. Ultimately, here's the great news, guys. What's best for the client is also what's best for your business.
100%.
So just focus on that. What's best for your business isn't always what's best for the client, right? So I'm going to get a little logic talk here. I'm going in logic and critical thinking class, but what is best for the client is always going to be better for your business. And so I think if we can, as an industry, if we can get on board with like the idea, like let's do this together. Let's be better. Let's take a higher level to the marketplace. Let's not worry about the bad apples here and there that, are treat us unreasonably, which is going to happen, when you work with the public. Let's focus on, the people who are really trying to do things. They're really trying to make something happen for themselves. In my position, Sarah, the saddest things are when I, have a family that really wants to buy a home, and, we go through a lot of information and then the credit's just not there, or the income's just not there, or something's wrong where they're not going to be able to do this anytime soon. That's the saddest thing, when there just isn't any way that we can get there. But even in that situation, we can still make a plan.
You make a plan. Exactly. And who do you work with? You work with somebody that can help with credit repair. You have a good sphere of people around you. So even if it's something that, okay, well, we can't do the deal right now, Derek, you always without fail know who to send somebody to help them get to the point where they can do the deal and they can buy that house. And that's another reason why we work with you, because we know that between you and Jay, you're going to know somebody that's going to help someone.
Yeah, we know a lot of people. And, I think knowing people is important. Having resources is important. But the most importantly, and this is where I would implore everyone to really look in the mirror. I mean, I'm speaking to the industry now, and make sure you know who you're fighting for, know how important your job is. But making sure that you're putting their interests first. As long as we do that, everything else will work out. You'll do plenty of deals. You'll make plenty of money, put plenty of food on your family's table. But let's stay focused on the thing that really matters, which is serving one another. Serving one another is another way of loving one another. When we serve other people and we put them above, we raise them above our own needs, that's a way, that's a form of love. And I think that's ultimately, what is most effective for making people feel happy about their experience with you, and therefore what's unquestionably best for your business. So I think we need to get there as an industry, and it's an absolute breath of fresh air, to work with great agents like yourself and the Lee Home team and Jay and everybody over there. And I work with some of the most amazing people in this industry, and it really, really, really is fun. It makes it really fun. It really does. Not everyone's amazing in this industry, okay? Yeah. Or in any industry.
Very true. But we do have a lot of good people around us over here.
Great people. I mean, it makes such a big difference. And it's really cool to be able to work as a team to get things done like we did for the Smith family.
What is Smith family?
You know, I mean, working, you know, together to make that happen, like that took, you know, it took both of us doing a lot of hard work to get, you know, first of all, to get an offer accepted, then to have the communication, to be open and have that open dialogue. You got ahead of that thing so that there was enough time for us to be able to do a deal in the window. So it took a lot of good work from people who had the right intentions in mind.
Well, and we can even mention that because we were so far into that deal when I had to give you a call and say, we're going to need you to step in and save the day. And the listing agent got a little scared because they were contingent. So there was about 3 different moving parts to this deal. And she was so nervous that we were going to not be able to close on time. We weren't going to, you know, something's going to happen with the loan or it wouldn't fund, you know, whatever have you. And you gave her a call. And not only were you able to assuage those fears, but she sent you a referral.
It
Which I think is so funny. And it's such a testament to how you were able to step in and not only save the deal, but do it in a decent amount of time too. You know, whereas normally it would have taken at least a month and you were able to do it in a couple of weeks.
Yep. And what's funny about that was we were ready to fund a day early, and then or a day or two early from the revised COE, but then the seller had to push it.
Yeah. Well, the fire was on us, and we're like, okay, you got it. You and I are on the phone all the time with Mr. Smith. Okay, we're good. CD signed. Okay, awesome. Documents in. All right, we're ready to fund. Cool. Couple days early, and then we got pushed back. What, 4 days or something like
Something
that?
like that. Yeah, it was ready. We were ready to push the button, just waiting for the seller to say it was okay.
Yeah. So it's funny how things happen like that.
It was interesting. It was interesting, but at the bottom line is we delivered, you know, and that's what it matters, the absolute most. And, you know, I've got my most precious statistic that I hold on to is, you know, we've got 100% close rate in underwriting, you know, for contracts that didn't get canceled. We've had some people cancel contracts for different reasons, but outside of people who've inspected a property and then canceled, we have 100% close rate in underwriting. And, you know, that's a very, very big deal, including refinances. So,
huge deal.
It's a big deal. You know, we're very careful about getting things up front, and we've taken a lot of extra steps recently to even increase that and be more diligent up front. And a lot of that has to do with, again, trying to set people up for success. You know, the last thing you want to do is I got a call again last night from someone who was at the 11th hour with a deal, and they're like, hey, they're telling us they can't do our loan now unless we put another $40,000 down. What it is it's a lender who can't do a high balance VA loan, basically.
Right.
And so they're saying, well, your loan amount max is 510, 400. You got to bring in another $40,000 down. Completely ridiculous. I can get them 0.5% lower rate with no fees, and they don't have to bring any money down. So I'll save it. But, you know, it's those kinds of things that we've just got to put the tentacles out, and we got to let people know that there are options. And listen, if you've tried to buy VA and someone's told you no, or you don't qualify, or you're worried about qualifying, you know, we're a great team to call. If you are, you know, have been down that road with a deal and had a bad experience, you know, just know that does happen. And I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that happened. But it doesn't have to be that way. You know, it doesn't have to be that way.
You don't need $18,000 to close.
We sure didn't, did we?
No, we didn't. We didn't even need the 5.
We didn't even need all of the 5 that they had in there. And, you know, that's a pretty cool situation. You know, we love to save the day. You know, we can't always save the day, and we know that. I know I can't do every loan for every veteran out there, but I would like to at least put the word out. So if nothing else, if you can negotiate with your current lender or something, there's a lot of people trying to refinance right now who are getting charged tons and tons of fees. It's completely ridiculous. You know, if you can renegotiate, great. If you need me to step in, I'm here for you. But I just want to make sure that we're getting fair deals to our people who serve this country. You know, it's ridiculous that they're being targeted by all these scammy things and stuff in the mail. My goodness, get out of the mailbox with all these scams. It's crazy. And there people are just trying to whack our veterans. It's completely ridiculous. It should be illegal. There should be prison time for stuff like this. I mean, it is that egregious and ridiculous and completely unnecessary. So I just want to put the word out that, like, it doesn't have to be that way. Not every company's like that. There's a much more fun and positive environment to do business in. And I thought you'd be a great person to have on to have this discussion, Sarah. It was really great doing the Smith deal with you recently.
Yeah, it was a good deal. It was great.
Yeah.
I do actually have a text from him talking about you. Let's see what he wrote up.
You do.
I do. He said, to most adults, buying their dream home is something they look forward to from an early age. It can be the most gratifying and most stressful experience at the same time. The realtor and lender you choose can make it so easy and a smooth experience for you. Working with Sarah and Derek made the whole process easy and a wonderful experience. Sarah was able to find and schedule the house viewings for us with our hectic schedules she came up with worked so well with our hectic life, and through the viewings, we never felt rushed. Her knowledge on the properties was vast and on point. Working with Derek as our lender was so much easier than the first lender we chose. The first lender we worked with seemed a bit out of touch with the VA loan process and didn't seem to be too concerned with how much we had to put down for closing costs. We were told 3 different closing cost numbers and didn't seem to want to work with us on lender credits. Derek was easy to work with and was always keeping us updated. He was able to get us far closer to our comfortable number for closing and never stopped trying. I'd recommend Sarah and Derek to all my family and friends. Thanks again.
That's awesome. Did he give you a Zillow review or something?
He just sent that to me. I'll write something up so you can post it.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. What a terrific testimonial for a great family too, buying their first home. Just really, really cool. So, I mean, to just kind of come back to what we're talking about here, in which like the high value touch, the highest level of service, the next level, which we've been discussing here. All I know is it's the only goal I have is to do that. I'll look at numbers in the past. I'm not going to look at numbers going forward. I'm not going to say, well, I'm going to do this much business next month or next quarter. I don't care about that, but I will look at it in the past and go, okay, how do we do? Okay, cool. But I think that's really, really important. What do you think, Sarah, is the most important thing from your standpoint as a realtor right now for your business, for you to focus on within this realm?
Within this realm of being of service, I think it's just what we've been talking about the entire time is coming with that high value touch and just making sure that everyone knows that you're there to assist them and not to be there for yourself and to get yourself ahead. Because I think there are so many people out there, unfortunately, that do put themselves and their own business first. And we were able to really come in and put our clients first time and time again.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed 100%. And, obviously right now the market is on fire. Bold prediction. And I know I've said this for a little while, but now I think people are starting to be like, oh, he isn't crazy. And this is right when COVID first started. We did the real estate debate. I actually had an agent from Riverside County come and debate with me on this. I said, listen, this is just the beginning. The work from home economy that is just getting started. I mean, the first domino just got flicked.
Yep.
Is going to cause so many people to move to San Diego that it's going to blow everybody's brains out. Like no one's going to be able to, everyone's just going to be like,
yeah,
how is this possible? Listen, we're just starting to see this. And a lot of these people are coming here to rent first. And I've talked to a lot of people in the rental space and they're saying they're seeing it. People are coming from San Francisco. They're coming from the East Coast. They're coming here because they can work as a software engineer or IT person or whatever. They can work remotely. Why would you want to live in Buffalo? Or, I mean, no offense. Why would you want to live in some of these places? I don't know where Buffalo came from. Why would you want to live in a place like that when you can live in San Diego if you can afford it? If people didn't have that choice before, it wasn't on the table.
Right.
So this option to live the life, which by the way, living in San Diego is the life.
Literally. It
is the life. So in order to do that, now all these people have this option that's been put in front of them. And some of them haven't even realized it. But a lot of them haven't even realized it yet. Right. But they're going to start realizing it. We're going to see home values in San Diego, over the course of the next 10 to 15 years, at least double, probably triple, could even quadruple. I mean, it's going to be much more expensive here than it is in San Francisco.
Silicon Valley point two.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it'll be. And that's,
I think you are right there, just from what we saw last week in our meeting that I was talking about. From February of 2015 to September of 2020, home values went up 42%. That's insane. Our median home price just this year from February of 2020 to now September of 2020 went from 670 to 750. That is insanity. You're not getting appreciation like that anywhere else in the United States.
Yep.
Anywhere else.
And that's during COVID.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I'm happy you brought this up because I did want to ask so that we could kind of put it out there, your prediction, to see, in a little while what comes true. People, I just did a video about this, are always giving the objection. We want to wait till after the election and see what happens. We want to wait, until after the eviction moratorium comes up, and we want to see what's up with the foreclosures. I want to get a house at half off. What do you think is going to happen, especially being here in San Diego, where we're consistently growing by population? Right now, we have less than 3,000 homes on the market to serve our population of 3 million, and we can't build in the western part of San Diego, the desirable beachy area of San Diego. We can't build. We can only go up, we can't go out. So what do you think is going to happen even after the election, even after the eviction moratorium, with interest rates staying this low for however long they might? What do you think will happen?
Yeah, it's a great question. I deal with the same thing. And, for the most part, people are going to make the decision to buy a home when they feel comfortable with it. Some people will just never feel comfortable. They just won't, because if you want to go play the what if game, we could play that all day long. There's lots of things like, what if planes fly into, a building tomorrow? There's so many what ifs that we could play. But the facts are, I like to lean on facts in these situations because I don't want it to just be my opinion. I made my opinion very clear, but let's look at the facts. The last 10 years, real estate prices in San Diego have just gone up, 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 up. So everyone who's waited, it has cost them significantly, not just the rent that they pay, but also the price, increase that they now have to pay on the house. So if you spent 30 grand on rent last year, the house that you were trying to buy that was 500,000 went up 40 grand or more. No, it was more than that. It was over 10%. It was like 12%.
Yeah.
So went up 60 grand. So you spent 30 in rent. Now you have to pay 60 more. It actually costs you 90 grand just to wait one more year. So for the last decade, that's been true. So if anyone feels like they can predict a decade-long move when it's going to turn the other direction, I can tell you must be smarter than me. So I would look at it more along these lines, Sarah, and this is what I always do. Hey, listen, whenever you're comfortable, I'm happy to help you. But here's the way to really look at this. If you're buying real estate and you're buying it for long-term financial security, retirement strategy, permanent long-term solutions for your finances, you're not buying it because you think it's going to go up in value in 2 years. That's important. I look at it like, if I'm going to buy a house for a 30-year loan, and this is a part of my retirement strategy, in 30 years, I have it paid off and I'll have a lot of options about what I want to do with my life. I would like to get the clock ticking on that. I would like to go ahead and get, the next year, I would like to have 29 left this time next year, instead of wondering if I'm going to be able to actually still afford to buy a house and start all over at 30 years. You know what I mean? So I look at it from that standpoint of, I would like to get the clock ticking on this, because to me, this is a long-term investment. I know it's going to take time. Let's go ahead and get the clock ticking. Let's start taking advantage of, the tax advantages. Let's start, paying down some principal. Let's start giving ourselves an opportunity for some appreciation. You get none of those things, when you're renting. So it's a lot riskier to rent than people realize. In the last decade, people have really been burned by it.
Yep. Yeah. And I love your videos. And when you talk about that, how it's costing you, there's that two downsides. Your upsides are your equity and your appreciation. And with renting, what do you have?
There's nothing.
What do you have?
There's
You're
no
not,
upside.
you're paying a mortgage, but you're not paying your own mortgage.
That's the real brutal fact about it. If you are renting, you should be, getting a really nice Christmas present and a bottle of wine, and some other things every year from your landlord, because you're really doing them a solid. Like, I hope it's your aunt or uncle or someone you care about, because it really is doing someone a serious solid, and, they should hook you up.
Yeah. Agreed. Completely. Where's my bottle of wine?
You can rent your whole life. It's totally your call. I just don't know a lot of people who are very, successful managing finances that have made that decision and could justify it in any way. So for me, I like to stick with the facts, the numbers, what makes it easy for people to succeed. I think the idea and the concept of buy a house, pay it off is easy enough for people to understand. There's people out there talking about equity reposition and doing all these crazy things and taking this and keeping a mortgage and investing in stocks. There's a bunch of complicated things you can do. Let me tell you, the easiest thing you can do, buy a house, make the payment, pay it off. You'll be in great shape.
Stay up to date.
That's it.
Yeah. Don't ruin your credit. Don't miss payments.
Yes.
Do whatever you got to do.
Sarah, I feel like I can't believe it's already 4:00.
I know.
I feel like we could keep talking forever. Thank you so much for your time today. And I really appreciate you jumping on and trusting me, to come in and save the day when that's necessary. I really do appreciate it. Hey, folks, let's share this video. If you're in the industry, if you're in the mortgage industry, in the real estate industry, let's share this video. Let's help make your sphere and your friends smarter than everyone else when it comes to the high value touch and the service level that people deserve in this industry. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you all soon.
Thank you.